Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, this is going to be a life update type video. A video basically where I'm going to be explaining kind of where I've been the last year and why my channel has looked the way it's looked for the past year, which is not the way I want it to look, not the way any of you guys want it to look. I'm totally aware of this. We are on the same page when it comes to kind of the way I've been acting, and this is kind of why I want to explain my side of things, because obviously you guys only see me through a screen, so you have no idea what my life looks like or what I've been going through or any of those things. So that's what I want this video to be. I want it to be a open, honest discussion, a heart-to-heart. I want to just talk to you guys like I used to. I feel like I'm going to get emotional a lot in this video. I've already been crying all morning, if you can kind of, I don't know if you can tell, but just for other reasons, but I've just not been having like the greatest morning, and I know that's not like the best way to film, but I know that if I don't film this, I've been putting this video off for a very long time. I know that I told you guys that it would be up 2 days ago, and it still isn't up, and that's not acceptable, and I realize that. I just want this video to be the start of kind of the start of something new, and also just the end of the old. I just want this video to be a major turning point for me, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to film, and that's why I've been putting it off for so many months. I also just wanted to apologize / thank you guys. Obviously apologize for the fact that this video has been so long overdue and you guys have been waiting and so patient. Thank you so much for being so patient. I know it might not make sense to you guys, but that's because you're looking through such a small hole into somebody's life and you just can't see the bigger picture, so it doesn't make sense to you of why I do the things that I do or why, I act a certain way, and that's okay. You're not supposed to see, you're not supposed to understand, it's not supposed to make sense to you guys because you can't see the big picture. I just want you guys to know that I'm on the same page as you. I hate putting up content that I don't like just as much as you don't like watching, content that you can tell that I'm not as passionate about, And so I do just want to say thank you for whoever's watching this. That most likely means that this video that you're watching came up in your subscription box, which then again most likely means you did not unsubscribe to me in the past year that I've been such a shitty YouTuber. So thank you from the bottom of my heart if you're watching this. Ooh, I'm not gonna get emotional. Not yet. Way too early. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I apologize if you guys were disappointed or I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time apologizing because I want this video to be I'm going to try to keep this as positive. This is a pretty negative video just because of the circumstances that I will be discussing, but I will try to keep this as positive as I can. Sorry if you hear a bunch of background noise. There's construction going on right outside the window, so I'm sorry about that. So like I just said, I don't want to spend a ton of time apologizing because there's only so much apologizing I can do. I'd rather just try to make it up to you guys in the form of trying to be a better YouTuber in the future than just sitting here saying I'm sorry for the past, I'm sorry for the past, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I'm not sorry. I hope you guys can genuinely feel and understand that I am so unhappy with the way that my channel has looked the last year, and I just kind of wish you guys would understand that I'm aware, I'm right there with you. I see everything that you see. I read the comments, I read y'all's feedback. I know what's going on. I'm not just in this bubble where I think that my channel's perfect and I'm just getting to live my life and do whatever I want. No, my channel is a burden on me every single day. I think about not posting, I think about posting, I think about what you guys are thinking, and I think about this stuff daily, and it hurts me as a human, and I don't think it's healthy as humans to kind of have this weight from the opinions of other people, especially online. I don't have a script for this. These are all just thoughts, my stream of consciousness just going. So this video is going to be all over the place. I have so much to say, which is why every single time I've tried to film this, I've ended up just getting way too frustrated or emotional and just shutting the camera off and saying, I give up, I can't do it. Let's move on to something else, a little more lighthearted. It's not crazy lighthearted, but I just did want to mention that throughout this video, you probably will be hearing some cuss words, curse words, whatever you say, because of two reasons. Number one, when I'm passionate, I tend to cuss more just because, cuss words are very loaded, strong words, and when you get really passionate about things, I tend to just let them slide out. It's not really intentional, it's just kind of a habit. Cussing is a very strong habit, especially if you've been doing it for a long time, years like I have, and I know that may be a shock to some of you because you don't typically hear me cussing a lot on camera. I've never really cursed on camera, or, I've tried to pretty much keep that away from my YouTube channel. And the only reason for that And the reason that that's changed is because I no longer want to have a camera self and a real life self. And for a majority of my YouTube career, that has very much been the case. It's been such a hard place to kind of balance, and I basically just want to completely rid that ego, like that layer. I don't want to have these two, opposing forces inside of me. I want to just be myself and be unapologetically myself. Just in these last, years I've been on YouTube, I've been one person on camera, and then I've been another person in real life. So in order for me to really explain that, I would just have to dive so much deeper and basically explain to you like how 2015 was like my early midlife crisis. 2015 for me was like the year that I changed the most, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think people look at like change as such a bad thing, and just because you don't like it or you don't agree with it does not mean that for the person that it's a bad change or that it's negatively affecting them. And that's what you have to realize, is that just because you might look at somebody's life and think that it's not going well or it is going well, like you can't assume anything about somebody on the internet because you just don't know them. You don't know what they're going through at all behind cameras. And that's kind of why I'm bringing this up in the first place, is that I would like in this video for you guys to allow me to reintroduce myself. I know that's kind of cheesy, but it's like, for real, I would like to reintroduce myself because I honestly feel like you guys don't know who I am at all. Actually, I take that back. I genuinely believe that some of you guys just totally get me, you totally just support me and love me, and you're just right there with me on the same page. I mean, I've honestly met some of the most amazing people just from talking to my subscribers about my issues and, them lending an ear and me being able to just vent to them and tell them what's going on. Like, some of you guys actually genuinely care, and I can tell those subscribers from the subscribers that are just demanding things of me and, tearing me down and saying I'm not good and I don't deserve this, and blah blah blah. And I've made some of the most amazing friends, like from meeting these amazing subscribers on the internet. Shout out to freaking Bella and Jen, I love you guys. And Avery, gosh, so many amazing people online that have just completely changed my life for the better. So don't think that I don't see the people that are there for me. But since we've already touched on this, I do just want to keep elaborating on it. So I don't want it to be like this huge thing of like this new me, but at the same time, like, I just feel like you guys don't know me at all, because, I mean, let's be real. The last time I made a talking video, like where I actually sat down and talked to the camera, was 5 months ago, and that was doing a favorites video. So that wasn't even like telling you guys anything about my life. I was literally just talking about makeup, which is cool, but it's not me, And then the last time that I actually sat down on camera and talked to you guys about my life and about what I'm going through and about like how I feel and things like that was well over a year ago. It was January of 2015. It's now March of 2016. So that's insanity to me. I did not realize that it had been a year, but that totally makes sense to me because that was the entire span of 2015, which was the absolute hardest year of my entire life. I know I said this in my video where I came back to YouTube. I did leave for 3 months for, again, the same exact reason that I've, after I uploaded that video, I was still not able to consistently upload videos. So I am terribly sorry that I have kind of left you guys hanging like that, or I kind of like disconnected, and that's exactly what it did. That's exactly what happened. I disconnected myself from my YouTube. Sorry. And so that obviously brings me to my next point, which I want to spend very little time discussing, because I just don't think, not that it's not worth talking about, but it's not something that I want to talk about. It's so ridiculously personal that like nobody should ever discuss this about another person, especially online. It's so unnecessary. It's counterproductive. It does nothing good for anybody. But yeah, spirituality, religion, let's just fucking talk about it. So if you've been following me for a very long time, or even, I would say even in the last like 2 years, you would probably have some idea or some awareness that, is that a word? Awareness that I am a Christian, or I was a Christian, and I was very vocal and open, and I had no problem sharing my faith because that's what Christians are supposed to do. It's widely known that Christians are to share the faith and to share the good news of the gospel, and that's great and wonderful, and I have nothing against that. I spent the last 5 years of my life completely in love with that idea. Like I said, I was very vocal about it, and I don't regret that. I don't think that was a wrong thing of me to do. But here's the part that I need everybody to understand, is that I was 17. I was 17 years old when I made my testimony video. I was 16 when I was saved. Like, these ages are so young. Think about yourself when you were 16 and thinking that you had just found the answer to life. Great years. I was so happy, blah, blah. I thought that I had found the answer to life, and that's wonderful. And if you've done the same thing, I have nothing but love and happiness for you. So religion is very controversial. Obviously, nobody in the world agrees on one thing, and I think it's just so absurd for everybody to think that that idea of everybody believing in the same thing is even possible. So let's just abandon that. It's not ever going to happen, so stop trying to make it happen. Nobody's ever going to believe in the same thing. Their beliefs, nothing is set in stone, nothing is true, nothing, like, your truth is not my truth. And again, I don't want to go into this because it's such a controversial thing, and like, there's no winner. I'm not a winner, you're not a winner. Whether you start a huge theological debate in the comments and you leave that feeling great or not great, or disproved, or you think everyone's an idiot, or it does nothing. It does nothing for the world. So can we just drop that? Like, let's just not even go there, And I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, it's like, you brought this to the table and now you're like expecting us to just like never speak of it again, It's like you spent like your whole YouTube career talking about how much you love God and Jesus, and now you just want to like pull back and be like, all right guys, don't question me about it, don't talk to me about it. I get why that looks a little bit wrong, but the thing that I didn't realize back then was how personal of a journey your spirituality is. And it wasn't really, it was my right to say what I wanted. Like, it was my channel, and I don't think that I ever insulted anybody. If I did, I'm very sorry. I know that I've said some crazy things in the name of Jesus, because that's what I was taught to do. I was so young, I was manipulated a lot, I was guilt-tripped a lot, and I was just brought up to believe a certain way just because people were teaching it to me. And I became obsessed with it, and I would spend hours and hours just listening to other human beings' opinions and thoughts, and thinking that just because they knew the Bible better than I just assumed that those people had all the answers, that the Bible had all the answers, that God had all the answers, that I had all the answers, and that I needed to just spew that on everybody. And that's kind of what I did, and I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. Like, I'm just saying that nothing I did in my past, I don't want you guys to hold those things against me, because it's not fair. It's not fair for me to hold anything, over you for anything that you've said or done when you were 17 or, 18 or whatever. Even a year ago, like even last week, you can't hold, People are constantly changing, constantly evolving. At least I hope so. Like, I know I am. This past year has been the largest growth for me as a human being. Like, I've learned things this year that, like, 2 years ago, I would have never even contemplated the thought, like I would have never even entertained the idea that these things could possibly exist, or that my truth could possibly not be the real truth. And I basically realized this year that kind of my foundation for everything that I believed, everything that I made my identity, was basically just it looked good on the outside. It was a very beautiful fruit, but it was so rotten on the inside. I wanted to look like the pretty, like, perfect Christian, and I tried for a really long time, and I realized how hard that was. And the internet gives you no mercy when you claim something and then you don't do that. You get torn apart, especially in Christian. Like, any Christian that's online knows this. You do one sin and you're the devil. And I've already gone over this, and I just want this year to be the year of like happiness and just positivity and no judgment, and who cares what my religion is. And if you believe in Buddhism, that's great, and if you believe in atheism, or if you're an atheist, that's great. Like, I just don't want you guys to think that I'm the same person as I was. And at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, great, Alison, you've changed, everybody changes, cool, what's the big deal? Why does this have anything to do with the fact that you don't upload anymore, or the fact that you only do sponsored videos, or, all these things that have been brought to my attention over the past year. And this is the part that, for me, is borderline impossible to explain, because it is so ridiculously personal, and this is why it's so hard for me, because like I want to tell you guys, and I want to share my story, and I want to be honest, but at the same time I don't know if I'm ready for it. I don't know if I want that kind of backlash. I don't know if I want the judgment and everything, and I just want this to be like a positive thing moving forward. I don't want to like tell you all these negative things that happened to me just to like for no reason, but I do also, it's like impossible to explain why my channel has been the way it is without telling you what happened, you know? So please just bear with me. Please just respect my privacy a little bit. Like, yes, I am putting myself out there. Yes, I am literally telling you this on the internet. I don't have to be doing these things. I want to because I want us to be on the same page. I want us to have a better understanding of each other moving forward. For like me bringing up my religion and stuff, like I just wanted to get that out of the way so that moving forward, I don't have to worry about, or not even necessarily about me worrying. It's just more so for me to like feel okay about the person that I've become and not feel like everybody is so disappointed in me and like wants me to go back or anything like that. And I know a lot of people are very supportive of my change, I guess you can call it. I don't even want to call it that. I'm just growing up, guys. I started when I was 16. I started YouTube when I was 16, and now I'm 22. Like, I've just changed an immense amount, and it's not a bad thing. I will stop. No. My cat's playing with the lights. So just to like clear the air and just say it on camera for now and for final, like I just don't want to keep bringing it up. I don't want it to be a topic of discussion. I don't think anybody's spirituality should be a topic of discussion because you have no idea what that person is feeling inside their head, inside their heart. It's so little about what you do, in my opinion. So much more about your heart and your intentions, and God sees your heart and God sees your intentions. And as long as those are good and pure, then nobody else can say anything because they don't see it. They don't see it, and He does. If you believe in God, I'm not here to judge you. I'm kind of asking the same in return. I know that everybody judges everybody, but you don't have to type out your judgments. And yeah, so no, I'm no longer a Christian. I know that that's going to like be super upsetting for some people. I've already gotten messages upon messages saying that people are so sad and so disappointed, and that's just honestly kind of hurtful and offensive, and it just does no good for me to hear that you're sad that I've changed my religion. And I'm not saying that from a place of like I don't get it, because I do. I was there. I lost friendships like from me being a Christian and my friends not being Christian. Like I was so heartbroken for them and sad for them, and I just wanted to save them. And I get that. Like I get that's where most people's intentions are coming from. Not all of them. A lot of people are just super, bitchy Christians and judgmental Christians, and there's definitely those, just like there is of every religion, And I think people can just get a little bit too invested in that and feel too entitled to know what's going on and everything like that. But yeah, so that out on the table. I'm no longer a Christian. I would consider myself agnostic. If you guys are curious, I can definitely do a Q&A and answer any specific questions you have. But this is just for me to be like, hey, here's the truth, here's what's real life, this is reality. I have no fucking clue what I believe, and that's okay. I spent a year, probably almost 2 years, literally beating myself up over the fact that I didn't know if I believed in Christianity, I didn't know if I believed in God, if there was a God, I felt bad for questioning, and that's not okay. You should never feel bad for questioning what you believe. Sometimes it is super necessary to just drown everybody out, the opinions of the world, like what you've, come accustomed to believing and how you think, like really just, this is what I did this year. Like I just had a lot of self-reflection. I took a lot of time off, as you guys know, which does bring me, okay, let me just get this part out of the way. I'm just going to bring up all the comments saying like, if you were in the real world, you would never last a minute, try getting a real job, and normal people can't just take 3 months off when they're feeling sad and blah, blah, blah. Those totally make sense. In the real world, no. In the real world, no, you can't take 3 months off when you're sad. But last time I checked, life is completely what you make it. And so my only real response to the whole you won't survive in the real world / like you take your job for granted, you can't just do this, and I realize that most of those comments are coming from a place of jealousy, that they're jealous that they can't take off 3 months when they're not feeling okay. But here's the thing. Life is what you make it. I truly believe that. I believe that, your life is an outcome of your thoughts and your beliefs and your actions, like common sense, It is not a rule, or you don't have to go to school, you don't have to go to college, you don't have to get a job. These are all just worldly things that we've been just brainwashed with. You don't have to do any of these things to be happy. For me, this whole year, I've just learned how important happiness is, and mental health, and just being in this world, but not just being in it, but actually like experiencing and living in it. And happiness is like, obviously, if you ask pretty much anyone down the street, like what the goal of their life is, like what's the meaning of life, what's the purpose of life, Sure, a lot of them will have a lot of religious implications, but most people will say happiness is just the key to life. It's just that's all they want in life. And the sad part about this is that we know that money rules the world. And so I get the motivation behind these types of comments. Like, I have to work my ass off every single day, 9 to 5, to, to go home to my crying kids and blah, blah. Like, I get it. Like, I get that everybody's life looks different, but that's not fair for you to project your, fear and your lack of love for your own life onto me, because I'm not saying that I love my life or my life is perfect or anything, but I did create the life that I'm living right now. Every action that I've made has led me to right here, just as every action that you've ever made has led you to where you are in your life. If you're happy about that's not really up to me. That's completely on you. So I get that most of those comments are coming out of a place of jealousy, or just the fact they don't like the fact that I get to do this. A lot of people don't like the fact that YouTubers even make money on YouTube. But I made this life, and the fact that I can take 3 months off of my job when I'm not feeling okay is not a bad thing. Like, you don't have to hate me because I'm allowed to do that, because that's the circumstance for my life, because that's what I made it, you know what I mean? I read a book once that talked about a man that lived in the mountains of Utah, and he lived completely off of the land, and he farmed his own, food. He dressed him. He only wore a loincloth. Like, he didn't really wear clothes or anything. And he built his own shelter, and he built his own house. And he didn't like society. He didn't like the way that it was. He didn't want to be a part of the system. So he said deuces, and he freaking moved to the mountains and decided to wear a loincloth and grow his own food and live in his own house by himself. And you can't tell that man, you can't tell him that he's living his life wrong, or that he would never survive in the real world. What's the real world? That is his world. That's his reality. This is my reality. The fact that I can take 3 months off, if you think of it this way, the fact that this is my job, this is supposed to be my job, just as, I don't know what you guys do, but I'm here for a reason. I'm in this moment for a reason. Had I had a different job where I maybe wasn't allowed to take off those 3 months, and try not to get emotional here, but let's say that I had a different job that time, and I was going through what I was going through, and I had to push, and I had to go to a 9 to 5, and I had to work those days, and that would not have been good for me. And that's not saying that it's not good for anybody. Nobody should be forced to go somewhere if they're brokenhearted. I just don't believe that. I know it's the real world, but I don't have to live in y'all's real world if I don't want to. I'm sorry, that might be naive to you guys, but to me, that's just real life. I think that your life is the way it is, and some people aren't made to handle what other people can handle, And so I'm never going to apologize for any of the time that I've taken off, because it was so beyond necessary. A person should just never be on YouTube, should never be showing themselves when they're just feeling that shit. It is not as easy as it looks to put on a fake smile and act like you're happy. People tell me all the time, there's no way she could be going through anything hard, because look at her Instagram, look at her Snapchat, she's always with her friends, she's always out partying, she's always doing this and that and that. So upon hearing all these things about people trying to tell me how I feel, it's just bullshit. It needs to stop. You can never look through such a small looking glass of somebody's life and think that you know it, that you know it all, that you know what she's feeling, you know what's going on, you know their situation. No, you don't. No, you do not. Think of the tiniest little hole of your life. Think of your life. Look at your Instagram right now and think of how much that actually shows of your life. Probably less than 1%, right? You could look at somebody's Instagram and think that which actually this just reminds me of a quote by Robin Williams, go figure. I love this quote, but it's slipping my mind. Don't quote me on this, no pun intended. I think it goes something along the lines of, people take pictures of the happy moments in their life. People would then look at our photo album and conclude that we led a joyous, leisurely existence free of tragedy. Nobody ever takes a photograph of something that they want to forget. That's so true, guys. Come on. Instagram and social media and YouTube, they're just photo albums of tiny moments that you decide to show somebody. You decide to show somebody. So of course, you're not going to ever decide yourself to show somebody something that you don't want them to see. So for you guys to sit, behind it and assume that you see all the things and that you know all the things that they don't want you to know. It's it's very selfish. It's very like, get out. That's just not a good place to be. Assumption is just never going to get you anywhere, and that's all you're doing is assuming based on observation, which sometimes your observation is so wrong just because, you know, your observation doesn't, you can only perceive things from your, you know, your level of perception, and that makes sense, but it's not my reality. Just because you know, perceive something to be true, it doesn't mean it is for me. But the bottom line is that I do want to completely change this channel around, and I do want to discuss like the whole sponsorship issue and people thinking, you know, that I only do this for money, which is 100% not the truth. Money to me is just completely meaningless. Of course, we all need money, and it's, you know, important, and we all like nice things, and we like to travel, and we like to do all these, of course, like money fuels it, but to think that I would just continue this for money is, I would just never do that, and I want you guys to know that, like, I would never do that. The moment that this, and I say this with a grain of salt, the moment that this makes me truly unhappy is, I will not continue it, and I'm going to be honest with you here, YouTube has not made me happy in the last year because of the way that I've treated YouTube and the way that I've let it kind of switch. I feel like, you know, this last year I've just gotten to a point of such irrelevance in the YouTube world. I feel like nobody, you know, I got to a place where I just felt like nobody cared that I was even on, that nobody cared that I was uploading, and I know that so many messages and comments contradict that, and the people that comment and tell me that they're like waiting on my video every day, like that completely contradicts that, and you're like, why aren't you reading that? Like, that shows you that I want you here. But when you're in a bad place with yourself, and like you don't really know who you are, and you're like you're going through periods of like really bad self-hatred, like those just bounce off the walls of your brain. Like you stick to the negative, and that's all I was doing. I was just sticking to the negative, and I made YouTube into like a monster that I was really, really scared of, and I kind of made you guys a monster. Like, I was scared to read my comments. I hated my YouTube, but I kept trying. Like, I kept trying, but what I was doing was clearly not working. I think that everybody can agree with that. And so the thing is with like the whole sponsorships, it's like, it's not about the money. It is about the money in ways that, in ways that I have to live. Like, this is my job. And I think it's so funny that people just are so quick to assume that like we're the greediest, selfish people, YouTubers, when like you guys don't even know where the money is going. Like, I donate a lot of my money. Like, I give my money away to people if they need my help. Like, I do not take for granted the amount of money that I get from YouTube. I don't think any YouTuber does or should, but you know, like, people are like, wow, another sponsored video, you're so greedy, like you have enough money, blah blah. Like, for me, like, for a while my money was going towards my family, like helping my mom out. People don't realize for a period of time, like, I was doing sponsorships, I was getting those paychecks and giving them directly to my family because they were struggling, and like and then you just sit there and read how greedy and selfish you are, you know, like, and it's so hurtful because it's like people have no idea what you're going through, what your family's going through. You guys need to just, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just from my experience and just making me a better person, like, quit assuming the worst in people. Like, most people are not these monsters that you make them out to be, and I'm not saying that you guys have made me out to be a monster, of course not, but I think you guys think my intentions are like so much more malicious than they are. Like, I'm not doing anything to try to hurt anybody or to try to upset anybody or disappoint. Like, why would I nobody wants that, you know? Like, it's not a reflection of you guys. It's not. It's 100% a reflection of me, and for a long time I didn't know if I wanted to do YouTube anymore. It was not making me happy. It sounds so odd because it's like the simplest task, but when your heart isn't in it, it becomes something that you just don't want to do. And I don't know where it went wrong. I definitely let it slip away. I let a really good thing slip away, and I was too caught up in my own like emotions and like what I was dealing with outside of YouTube to fix my YouTube, you know what I mean? And I feel like now I'm finally getting to a place where I can change things around. And again, like, this isn't even me like trying to promise you guys anything, because I think we all know how I am with promises. I really do try. I'm just somebody that I have to listen to my body, and I have to listen to my intuition in my head. To me, like, pushing yourself, like when you're not ready to do something, is like it's like when you break a foot and you're trying to run on it, like, but it's still broken, so it's like if you're not going to do the best job that you can, you're not going to run the fastest that you know you can, because you know your foot's broken, but nobody else knows. And instead of taking time off and letting it heal back to, you know, so you can get back to the speed that you ran before, you're just trying to run on a broken foot. And that's kind of like how I felt this entire year. And this is to the point where you guys are like, okay, why? Like, what's, you know, what has been going on? Like, blah, blah. It was a multitude of things. In the very beginning of 2015, I just experienced the worst time of my life. I was just dealing with a lot of relationship issues, which I know that sounds super petty, but if you've ever been in a relationship and, like, it can really take over your life, and if it's just a terrible situation, then it's just so negative, and it can just impact everything about your life. It can affect your friendships and your family and your work life, and it affected my work life. And that's also at the same time that I was kind of dealing with my whole, like, spirituality. I realized how, like, small and stupid these problems seem to just be speaking them, but when you're actually living them, like, it's so much different. I know you guys know that, but like, for me to just be like, the reason I had to take a break from YouTube was because, like, of these seemingly, like, small things. It's almost like embarrassing. Like, I feel like kind of ashamed to, like, just be telling you the real reason of why, like, I had to leave, because I realized that other people could have 100% handled what I went through. I guess what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to agree with the way that I handled it, because maybe I didn't handle it the right way. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. It is how I handled it. It is what I thought needed to happen. But yeah, if you've ever experienced that sort of spiritual shift in your life where you basically grew up and spent X amount of years, for me it was 5 years being a Christian, studying that, being in love with that, thinking that was it, that was all I knew, that was who I was, type thing, and then completely it just, like, blowing up in your face, and then you having no clue what you believe. It's like, it's not a good place to be, and I'm sure a lot of people have been there, done that, you know, and I don't know, maybe it was easier for you, but for me it was very, very hard. It was very traumatic, and I took it as a me failing kind of thing. And I think that me being on the internet during that time was not helpful at all, because I just got so many different opinions about, like, my faith, you know, like, I told people I was struggling and nobody helped me, and everybody just shoved me down in the hole even further, and they were like, pretty much just stay there, like, you don't deserve to even come out of this hole. And no, that wasn't all of them. I hate generalizing. I'm not trying to generalize, but that was my experience. I had an overall negative experience trying to, you know, be open and honest about where I was with my faith, and so that pushed me away from it even further. And I know it's not about Christians, I know it's about God and my personal relationship with Him, but that had already died so long before I had even told anybody. And then when I did decide to, like, be brave and tell people that, like, I was totally struggling with it and, like, you know, did not know what I was believing, I just got shot down even further into, like, the shittiness that I was already feeling, just from my own, you know, self. Like, I felt like I had failed God, like I had failed myself, and then people just pretty much just shoved a bunch of shit right on top of that. It changed me, it really did. So all these feelings were inside, and I wasn't really talking to anybody about it, or telling many people, and it got to a very bad point, because I was living by myself at this point, so a series of bad habits started appearing, relived habits from my past, very destructive habits. Whew, sorry, I just, like, never imagined I would actually be, like, talking about this and, like, and people be listening to it. I know I'm gonna upload this, but it's very scary. I hate the word depression. Like, I don't even want to title it or label myself. It's just how I feel. Like, it's not, I don't want to have to put a name on it. It's just the way I feel, and for me it was not good. And so out of these feelings came a lot of self-hatred, a lot of like, just addictions that I didn't quite understand why they were happening, but they were, and they were so real. And it, like looking back on it, it almost, like, blows my mind that these things happened to me. So I'm just gonna say it. During that time, I developed a very pretty severe addiction to self-harm, which is something that I had struggled with in high school, but only very mildly, nothing that ever needed medical attention. And I would never bring this up for no reason. I would never bring this up for attention. I would never bring this up for the hell of it. Like, this is such a serious topic for me, and Like, I don't joke or kid about this or take this lightly at all. And I don't think anybody should. And I kind of spiraled down a very bad path. I was drinking a lot, heavily a lot, pretty much like every week, multiple times a week, I would go out and drink. And I know, and this is the part where everyone was like, there's no way something's wrong with you when you're always out partying, you're always out having fun with your friends. Like, put two and two together, people. Like, it, and I know that I defended myself, of course. Like, what else was I gonna do in that period of time, you know? And no, that was not the adult thing to do. I know that, but I was 21. Okay, this was last year. I was 21 years old, and to me, alcohol was my best friend and like the devil at the same time, because it was the biggest trigger for my problem. It was something that when I got to a level of drunkenness, it caused me to just pretty much go crazy. When I'm in that kind of like mode, something like clicks or switches in me, and you can feel it coming on. I don't know if anybody has any idea what I'm talking about, but you can feel a switch turn in your brain, and you can just feel it like overcome your body. And for me, that was just a lot of built up things inside that I was not getting out. Of course, like, my family eventually found out, and I was in therapy. I was actually hospitalized for 4 days, and that was the scariest time of my entire life. The worst thing that I've ever been through. I would never wish that place upon anybody, not even my worst enemy. So I had gone to the ER for my self-mutilation twice before the hospital, and then after the hospital I went I think 2 more times. So just because, like, and I didn't get help while I was hospitalized. I was treated like I'm not even going to get in it. If you guys want to hold like separate video, I will definitely do one on that, on my opinions of the mental health care system, which is just so beyond me. Yeah, that was how I started 2015. I was going through a lot, and people had no idea, because I was also going to Fashion Week, and I was also going on vacations, and I was like also smiling, and I was also having a great time, but on the inside, and behind closed doors, behind the screen, like, nobody really had any idea what I was going through. And I wasn't suicidal. I was on suicide watch, but I was not ever suicidal. I never told anybody that I wanted to die. I don't want to die now, and I have not done that to myself since October, so however long that's been. So I'm in a much better place now, and I definitely weaned off of my alcohol usage. Obviously, it took a while. You know, you might be like, well, why don't you just stop drinking? And it's because I didn't want to stop drinking. I used the drinking as my escape, and it does work, by the way. Like, you can definitely drown out your sorrows and your pain with alcohol and drugs. Like, that's why so many people do it, because it does work. Obviously, it doesn't work long term, but you know, don't make people feel stupid or like shameful, or like, you know, like they're messed up, like for choosing alcohol and drugs. Like, those things are very powerful, and they can make you, you know, feel a very, you know, they can just take away your pain for a minute. Of course, it's not forever, but. And I'm not condoning it at all. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, don't look at people for drinking or, you know, to drown out the sorrows. Like, they're doing it for a reason. They're being intentional with it, and it's because they're hurting, and it's because they need help. So, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying, like, don't look down on those people. Though you should be helping them up. And that was hard, but the hard part was coming back to reality from that. Like, for 4 days, I didn't see the sun. If you've never even been in that kind of traumatizing experience where you're forced to stay in a building with a bunch of people that also have very serious, scary problems, like, this was my first time. Like, at first, like, I'm just like you. Like, I had that I never imagined in my life that at 21 I would end up in a hospital for, you know, self-harm. And it's crazy to me to think that was just a year ago, because it's so crazy. While I was in the hospital was in February, and the exact same time that I was there last year, this year I was on a boat whale watching, and if you guys saw my Hawaii vlog, then you saw that, and it was just so crazy to me to stand on that boat and realize that a year ago I was in a cell, like, pretty much with it was just the most terrible time of my life, and being on the boat and seeing the whales was like the most amazing thing. Sorry. It was just the most incredible experience, like the most like, I felt God just say, like, look at where you are now. It was it was just such a spiritual thing for me, because like I really just not only just was so marveled by the animal itself, but I've always equated, you know, humpback whales with God. So when I was out there, like it just reminded me of, you know, what had happened. Like it brought me back in like a good way, because it showed me how far I had come and that I had overcome that. And it was just such a crazy experience. So like that also like kind of brings me to another point. Like I don't apologize for going to, you know, Hawaii with benefit, and I don't apologize for anything that I've done, really. Like I'm so sick of apologizing. I just want to be fearless. I want to be like some of these girls that I watch on YouTube. I want to be so much like them. Jessie Smiles being one of them. She's inspired me so much, and sometimes when I'm thinking of things like to say, like I've been planning out this video and I've been watching hers, and you know, she's just such an amazing girl, and luckily a friend of mine, and she's just so fearless and so unapologetically herself, and she's not scared to say anything that she was once feeling or doing, because that's at one point what she was feeling and doing, and that's okay. Like she doesn't apologize for it. And I feel like I spent a lot of my life apologizing for my past, and like, you know, what I've said and what I've done and this and that, and I want to be done with that. I want a clean slate, and that's what this video is for. I just want you guys to know that like I went through a very terrible period, and that's the reflection of why my YouTube channel looks the way it does. And I don't want you guys to think that I was like a solid period of just, you know, depression. Like it wasn't like that. Like there were videos that I genuinely enjoyed making again, and you know, I got back in the zen, and I was like, oh my god, my love for makeup. But like when you come out of that kind of experience, I had to tell my manager, like I didn't talk to my manager for 4 days, because I was literally locked up and she had no idea where I was. And you know, like I had to, and then right when I came back, I was expected a video in like 2 or 3 days, and it was a sponsored one by Maybelline. Like, and I was like, I just had the most traumatizing experience in my life, and I'm expected to film a video talking about makeup and acting all happy and like I give a shit about makeup right now, you know? And so for a long time, I really did not give a shit about makeup, because it's makeup, you know? Like when you're in a cell with no connection to the outside world, when you're in a tiny room with a bed and you're sharing it with a schizophrenic, and no, nothing against schizophrenics, I'm just saying that I was sharing a room with a schizophrenic that I did not know. That just put yourself in that situation, okay? When you're in there, you learn so much about yourself, because all you do is think about what you've done, and you learn so much about the people around you, because you learn their stories and you learn who they are, and you just learn so much. I learned more about myself in those 4 days than I have in the last 4 years. And I did make a blog post about it, but obviously I did not want to like say anything, because I was not ready. It's been a year now, so I feel like even though I'm still like super emotional about it, like I feel like I'm just ready to like put it out there, because like I don't want to hide. Like that's such a hard thing to hide from people. Like I have visible evidence of what I went through, and not everybody has that. And you can judge me all you want for this. You can think that it's childish, that it's I've gotten pretty much everything for the people that did kind of guess. And I'm not gonna let anybody try to make me feel bad or make me feel like those things weren't happening or real or important, because you know, my family had to go through this too. Like my sister, like it's just so wrong for people to try to devalue your pain, or make you feel like since other people have it worse that you're not allowed to feel what you're feeling, or that you should feel bad for feeling the way that you're feeling. Everybody's pain, no matter how small or like whatever your problem is, like your pain is valid. And John Green has a really good quote that says, when people try to minimize your pain, they are doing you a disservice. And if you try to minimize your own pain, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's not okay for anyone to try to do that to you, but you also can't do that to yourself. You have to let yourself feel, and you have to let yourself feel pain and know that it is pain, and recognize it, and give yourself what you need to make that go away. And if for me that was not having YouTube and not doing YouTube, then that's what I had to do. And some people don't agree with that, and some people think that that's lazy and selfish and whatever, but that's what I felt right. That's what made sense in my brain, and that's what needed to happen, so that's what happened. And I tried really hard after that to, you know, be normal again, and just, you know, kind of forget that it had happened and move on and stuff, but that changed me so much, and I think that anybody can know that like a year ago, like something happened to me that changed me, and ever since then I've just gradually been, you know, not myself, which other people think, but I think it's just me kind of figuring out who I am. And I think, you know, there is a quote that says you have to lose yourself before you find yourself, and that's what 2015 was for me, was completely losing myself in like the worst way possible. And now 2016 is like, I feel like it's like my recovery, my I want to figure things out, I want to make it better, I want to not repeat what happened in 2015. But I'm very excited for the future. I'm excited for you guys to get to know this version of me. So stupid, but for like new people that probably have subscribed in the last year, you guys probably don't know anything just from what, if you've watched old videos, which they just don't accurately represent who I am anymore. And that's okay. Like, it's not like I'm going to go delete all those videos. It's not like I don't like that person. Like, I love who I am every step of the way. Like, of course there's been times where I haven't, you know, like it's just all a journey, and I think it's been really fun to watch, but I just want you guys to realize that it is a journey, it's gonna change, and this is just another point where it's changing. And you can either join me on this ride or you can get off now. Like, this is totally up to you. I know a lot of people aren't gonna like the whole changing thing, and some people are going to be super stoked about it. But right now, myself, my mental health, like my physical health, like just me, that's my priority, and YouTube comes second, and I think that should go for everybody. Even if you don't have YouTube as a job, just like your job should come second to your health. Like, you know, when you break a bone, you know, you don't go to work because you stay home and you heal yourself, and everyone is, you know, so sorry, and like they all wish you well and they all hope you get better. But it's like, but then it's like when you have a mental problem, which is honestly even worse than, you know, having a broken leg. Like, you can have a broken leg and like still be happy and like mentally okay, but if you're not mentally okay, then what else matters? A job? Like, no. Who the hell cares about your job if you're not okay? Like, you have every right to stop your entire world to make sure that you're okay again. I want you guys to know that, because I have been told the exact opposite of that this entire year, is that you don't deserve to have been able to take that time off. You don't, you know, that time wasn't yours to take. If you were in the real world, you would never survive, and you should feel bad for like the time that you took for yourself. And that is bullshit. You have every right to stop the entire world to make sure that you're okay again. And until you're okay, like, take as much time as you need. It can literally be 5 years, or, you know, a week. But if people don't take that seriously, take mental health seriously, or take the fact that some people can't handle certain things that other people can handle, like, you're not above anybody. You have no right to judge them and make them feel like bad for that. So just never do that. Just don't be those people. But anyways, this video is getting so long. I'm so sorry for the length of this. If you've stuck around and watched me ugly cry and ramble on about who knows what, then thank you. If you guys are excited about new videos, let me know like what you want to see. If you want to see like vegan cooking videos or outfit videos, or just more makeup tutorials, getting ready, literally just let me know what you want to see, because I want to do what y'all want to see, obviously. So yeah. Whew, I feel like I can breathe now. And I'm really excited to just get back into the swing of things as my truest self, my best self, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thank you for watching. I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.